happiest new day. So it's no surprise that I am back here outside in the beautiful sunshine, getting ready to do more garden stuff because I am obsessed and my passion, she is running very deep. So I have some things that I want to do today, like plant up some little seeds. But before we do that, let me show you the update on the garden, show you where we're at. We had a couple of nights of cold where they thought it was going to be a freeze, and we ended up getting down to like 40 degrees in our area, which is really cold for us. However, I think more than anything, I am just praying that everything is fine. So let's go check on the babies, see how all the plants are doing, and then let's create some more life. Let's go. The threat of the frost definitely scared me so bad. I was incredibly worried for my little seedlings out here, my little babies. But the weather didn't end up being as bad as they anticipated. Like I said, we only ended up going down to 40 degrees, like at the lowest, it was low 40s. And when I checked on these guys, you know, during filming, everybody looked great. And so I am incredibly relieved. But let me tell you that the night before, all I wanted to do was just go grab all these little seedling babies, bring them inside and cuddle up with them so they just know that they're safe and warm and they can keep growing, and all the ridiculousness. So I don't know what else to say, but I'm a little obsessed with these guys, especially as they're growing. And already you can see everything is looking a little bit taller. It's just like a few days from the last time I did an update, and all of the zucchini leaves have come up, and I mean, it's just looking so good. I cannot wait to keep showing you these updates and just show you the progress of where we are. But the kale, the lettuce, the zucchini, the broccoli rabe, all of those guys are taller already. Like you can clearly see them above the soil. It's just nice. And then, you know, our little OG garden, she is still working her magic, and everybody, all the herbs are growing, and I'm just so happy. So for today's project, what I want to do is get these little seeds in these little seedling trays, I think is what they're called. So I have some seeds that are good to be started in the trays and good to start indoors. Most of them can actually be started outside, but right now I don't have the room like in the garden bed. So we're going to start them in these trays and then transplant them. So for today, some of the things that I want to plant up are things like Roma tomatoes, mint, some cayenne peppers, some onions, and a few other things. So those guys are going to go in these little seedling trays, and I will show you what these are like. I got these on Amazon, and I can't say that they're great. I can't say that they're not, because I've never used them. Hence, they are brand spanking new. So these are the trays where the seedlings go, and they're just clear plastic. They have a hole at the bottom for drainage. These trays, once they're filled with soil and the seeds, go right in here. And this is where you can put your water and water from below. Then there is the lid, and so this lid has this little cap that goes on it, and you can turn this cap so that you get more or less ventilation to create more or less of a greenhouse situation, if you will. Last is these little tags that the trays came with. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use these, time will tell, but at a minimum I will just write on the trays themselves and identify what the seeds are. So next up on our list of projects is these containers here. So in one of the last videos I did talk about these gallon containers that I ordered on Amazon, and I thought these guys were bigger than they were, and they are not. So let me show you how big these truly are, which you can just get a good idea right here. I was expecting like a gallon of milk, like it's hefty and, you know, but gallon in farmland is this guy. So I think to use it as a starter pot is a really great way to go. So in these guys, I'm gonna plant some lettuces, just some greens, and then I also have some strawberries that I wanna plant up. So the idea really is just to start in here. I did use these last year for some pepper plants, and it just was not a great idea. I think the peppers just needed more room to grow, and these little gallon containers just were not the vibe. So as a starter and as like an intermediate situation, I think they're gonna be fine. Beyond that, I'm gonna have to figure out a more permanent solution, but at least I can get everyone started and see what is taking, what is not, and then decide from there. So let's get started. To get the soil ready for my little 1 gallon pots, I'm doing a combination of the organic raised garden bed soil that I used in all of the other garden beds and the plants and all the things. And then I'm also adding some compost. So I'm doing about 2/3 of the soil and 1/3 of the compost, mixing it all up. And then I'm adding some water just to make sure that everything is nice and moist. And so what I am looking for here when I'm adding the water is that when I touch the soil and I ball it up in my hands, that it is sticking to my hands, but when I squeeze it, I'm not able to squeeze water out of it. And this is supposed to help with the germination of the seeds. So I'm really hopeful that I'm doing this the right way. So as you can see here, I am adding a little more water, and you know, I'm just trying to be careful. I know that you can add more, but you cannot take away. And to take away would mean I've just got to let this dry out. So I'm trying to be incredibly careful, but here you can see what I mean, where the soil is definitely sticking to my hands a lot more, but I can't wring any water out. So I think we're good to go, and we are ready to start putting soil into our little trays. So I fully intended to wear gloves for all of this, but I gotta say, honestly, like getting my hands dirty, way more fun. So we're gonna start packing these little trays up with the soil, and then it's on to the fun part, which is putting the seeds in there, and hopefully they will be growing by tonight. Those are big pipe dreams, right? All right. So I don't know if you're like me, but I have never, ever done this. I have never started seeds, like growing anything from a seed. So to have it like that in the birdie beds and see them growing is a dream come true. Like I showed you the other day, it just, oh my gosh, it is so much fun. So I am just packing these guys with dirt. So I don't want to pack it like super tight, but I am going to give them like a little tap on the table. And I can see that we have some room up here to put some more soil. So I'm not pressing it in by any means. Some of these seeds are teeny tiny, and I want them to be able to move around freely, like not the seed, when they start growing. You know what I mean. So we're just gonna keep the train going. If you're starting your spring garden, comment down below and tell me what you're growing, and then tell me like how long you have been gardening. Are you a beginner like me? Are you like seasoned and you know what you're doing, or you know what you're doing for the most part? I love to hear these stories. Some of my family is fantastic with plants as a whole, including gardening. And for the longest time, like that just was not me. And for the last like 2 or 3 years, I've actually done pretty well with houseplants. And so I think that just gave me a little bit of courage that I needed to get into the gardening game. And now I just don't know why I waited so long, because I am obsessed. Now that our trays are filled with soil, we are ready to start putting our seeds in, and I could not be more excited. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm just gonna go 1 tray at a time and 1 packet per tray. So that might seem like a lot of plants, but I do expect to lose some to disease or some that just don't come up as well. I'm also gonna give some to my mom so she can put them into her garden, and you know, we're just gonna see where we go. We're gonna see where we go. I also want to do something else, and that is put these plants in different parts of the garden. So I may have a few peppers over here and a few peppers over there, and I just want to see which area of the yard serves these plants the best. So, you know, fingers crossed. So to make my holes in the soil, I'm going to use this chopstick, and I am just going to lightly go in like such, make a little hole or 2 little holes per cell, and that's where I'm going to put my seeds. So come on in and I'll show you what I'm doing. Oh, good Lord. It's not at all what I expected. This looks like, I don't even know what this looks like. Oh, they're prickly. So I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna start putting these guys in the holes. And then once everyone is where they need to be, I'm gonna cover them lightly and we'll move on to our next one. These are very spiky if you've never worked with marigolds before. They are giving all the pricklies. So now that all of our marigolds are in, I'm going to just use my finger, I think, and gently just cover everything up with the soil. So I'm not packing it in hard, I'm just loosely covering. So already when you're looking at these, you can see the difference from this lid to this lid. So this is a lid I just put on. It's nice and clear for the most part. This one I put on first and it already has humidity built up. So that is exactly what we need. At least I think so. I am beginner, so who knows, I might be doing this wrong. All right, and our little baby seedlings are done. I'm gonna move these guys maybe just off to the side for now, let them get some sunshine, and we're gonna move on to the rest of our plants. The last thing on our list for today, or last-ish, is to get the lettuces and the strawberries potted up. So I have these 1 gallon guys that I showed you earlier. So we're gonna take care of these, get them out in the full sun, get everybody watered, and then it is off to paradise for us. Let's go. So I'm using the same combination that I use for the little seedling trays. So it's about 2/3 soil and 1/3 of the compost. And then I'm adding water. So here I'm just using the leftovers from the soil trays or from the seed trays. And I had to add more water because even though today is like 61, 62 degrees, the sun is really beating down on us and it dried that soil out pretty quickly. So I really just need to be aware of that. And it's only about to get hotter. I need to just really stay on top of making sure that all of the plants are getting plenty of water. They're staying nice and hydrated. The soil is nice and hydrated so that no one is drying out because goodness gracious. And same as before, I'm just showing you the different seeds, the seed packets and the seeds. And it's just so cool to me how different all of these seeds look, and that they're gonna go from these tiny little chia seed looking guys to a full-blown plant in like no time. And that is just mind blowing. So, I mean, I've said it in like every one of these gardening videos, but this process is just so magical to me. I can't get over it. I don't know that I will ever get over it. Maybe when I find like a little bug or something on a plant, I might be a little mad, but I think it's still just so incredibly cool that you go through this process and you end up with like stuff that's edible. It's just interesting. So right here, I am planting up the strawberries, and I'm going to tell you the instructions on this packaging looked very, very simple. But as soon as I opened it up, it was just like a ball of I don't know what. And I carefully, I figured out that I needed to carefully untangle everything. And there are supposed to be 10 bulbs in here. They were very difficult to distinguish, like what is a bulb, what end goes up. So I hope I'm doing this right. And, you know, if I'm not, it's definitely not for a lack of trying, but you know, we are where we are. So just like before with the little seedling trays, I am creating the little name labels. I'm going to stick them in the pot so I know exactly what's in there. And oh my gosh, my heart shields a flutter. And lastly, I am going to water everybody. So like I said, even though it's only like 61 degrees, I can see that these guys were watered yesterday and they are looking really dry. And I did the, the finger test where I checked the soil down to, like a couple inches, and things are feeling pretty dry. So I'm going to give them a really nice deep watering today. And oh my gosh, I just got this new sprayer and I am obsessed with it. It is making watering so much more comfortable, so much easier. It's also not shooting the water out like the little handheld trigger, the little, you know what I'm saying. This with the long pole, I don't know. It's just like making the process so much easier. So, oh, I'm obsessed. These guys are looking so good. I cannot wait to see everything growing. These, the Meyer lemons right here that I'm watering, these guys have little green buds on them, and I'm so happy. So 2 of the 4 have green buds, and then the other 2 I'm keeping a really close eye on. But here, my beautiful lab, this is why we have this little fencing up. It is because he is just obsessed with, like, I don't know, it's like a combination of the soil and the compost. The Meyer lemon plants have fertilizer in the soil, like mixed in there. So I don't know what drives him so crazy, but he just has to get back there. And it's a whole scene. It's a scene. Oh God, oh no, no. No. Oh God. Do not, good Lord. Oh God. No.
Huey,
No.
I gotta stop it.
This is not a barrier.
It's not a barrier.
It's a deterrent. A mini deterrent.
Is it?
Huey, leave it.
He knows. He could just push it up.
Yeah, if he puts his face in the little holes. Jesus.
Alright, let's go.
Let's go inside.
Let's go inside.
Come on. Let's go. Bye-bye, plants. Bye-bye.
Come on, buddy. Let's go inside. Come on.
Jesus.